Welcome to season 2 of the Not All Love and Light podcast. My name is Romy Moreno, and I'm so happy to be kicking off this season with one of my really amazing longtime friends, Camilo, Rafael, Sierra, aka El Tumbao.
What up?
I'm so grateful to finally have you on this podcast. I've been trying to get you on here like forever.
Oh man, yeah, I'm so happy to be here. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
we've been trying to put this together for a while.
Yeah, for a while. I'm actually like so grateful that you're here because you're actually the one that has made this really happen. Like, I don't think I could have been able to launch this podcast without you. You do all the editing and putting all the cool effects and everything together. And of course, it's like my go-to person always since I was a teenager whenever I needed some shit.
Yeah, it feels awesome, and it feels super full circle, to be part of this with you. We have such an amazing friendship and history, and just kind of like, always helping each other and just vibing, over the years. And so it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be a part of it and kind of be on the other side of the mic.
Yes, for sure. And it's so crazy because, I mean, we've been friends for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 20 years, and we always kept in touch and always communicated. But then we saw each other like after a while, a couple months ago, and we're just talking about the podcast, and then we started talking about how we met, and we met at church, right? And then I was in a dance team in high school, and I needed music to be edited for like my team.
Yeah, like a dance mix.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't even know you, and I'm like, hey, can you help? And I totally forgot about that until you brought that up to me.
Yeah, I remember it. Like we had like friends in common, and I think we would kind of see each other sometimes, but we never really kicked it or anything like that. And then, yeah, like when I somehow you found out that I did, music or whatever, and so we linked up for that, and then we just kind of just became the best of friends, like right after, and
Yeah. And it's just so funny, like when you reminded me of that, I was like, wow, like full circle. Like I came to you so you could do my dance mixes, and I came to you when I needed help with my podcast, and whenever I've needed like a logo, which you're amazing at. You did the logo for Omen Vine. Yes. So big props to that. So let's talk a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm an artist. I do various things, and I'm passionate about music and about art, anything that has to do with creativity. And yeah, I've been doing that here in Miami for going on 30 years. And it's been a journey. I've evolved, and I've lived many different types of lifestyles, and I feel like almost lifetimes doing this. And right now, I'm just in a point where, I'm coming into my own and learning, taking the experiences that I've had, like working with groups and bands and big projects and collaborative things, and just taking that experience and kind of just like still doing that and helping people develop their ideas and kind of like materialize, their dreams and their realities that they want to achieve. But also, coming at it from a whole different perspective. I'm very into wellness and healing and anything holistic. I've changed my diet throughout the years, and anything that has to do with honoring the body, right, and our vessel here on Earth, because I believe that we're all divine beings, and we're kind of just taking a little course here in this reality, right? And in order to be, the optimal beings that we can be. And so, that's basically about me. I have a lot more stories, I guess maybe we'll get into.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, we've known each other for so long, but when we got together a couple of months ago, I was like, man, it's so different. I'm sure you felt the same way. Like, we're both so different.
Yeah.
Right? From like I mean, 20 years, a lot has happened in
Yeah.
20 years. And we were so reckless when we were teenagers. And it was just like, I felt how spiritual of a being you are right now, and the change, like it's you can't fake energy, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've always vibed, we've always gone along no matter what, but it just felt so different, but in such a great way that I could tell that you've been doing so much, you know, spiritual work, and that made me really happy. I'm like, damn, we need to
Yeah.
hang out more.
Yeah. No, I feel the same about you because, you know, like you said, you know, we were just young and kind of just like doing whatever and learning, you know, how to be like young adults, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so like, yeah, like I've always told you this, but I'm super proud of you of everything that you've accomplished, and the way that you live your life right now is just so bright and so inspiring and so, you know, you're a mom and you know and you're a coach and you do you know, so many things that have to do with wellness and with helping people you know, kind of be better and like overall. And so that makes me really happy because that's like what I want for all my friends to be
Thank
the
you.
best versions of themselves, you know.
Thank you for sure. If there's anybody that knows how toxic I was, it's you. So, you know, like the changes that I've done. And honestly, like I
Yeah.
do it because I know the place that I came from.
Yeah.
And if I could make those changes, anybody can make those changes.
Right.
Because it was tough, and I just want to help people, you know, guide them to better themselves, because honestly, like, as crazy it is with everything that I have going on, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like the peace that I have inside, even if I'm surrounded by chaos, it's it's unmatchable. It's just I would not give that up for anything. And people could achieve that. Like even let's say 6 years ago, the chaos that I was living around, like I was triggered, I would yell, I would just it was just too much. And this work that I do, that I teach, and what I help other people realize, that it's actually the work that they just do on their own, right?
Right.
I teach them to do it themselves. It's
Right.
just, but thank you, because you know how toxic I was.
Yeah, we all had a little toxic era.
Yeah. Yeah, my shit lasted a long time though. But it's okay. It's okay. So you mentioned how you're trying to shift into a different, direction with the music and things that you do. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about that, like what you envision for yourself and how you want to incorporate this new Cam of who you are into this work that you're feeling called to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just as an artist, as a songwriter, and as a musician, um, my background is, you know, I started playing in church. Before that, though, I was already introduced to music. I was in a choir in elementary school. Second grade, that was like my first experience, you know, being a part of a group, a musical group. And it was just you know, my school had a choir called the Chamber Singers, and we would go. Shout out to Mr. Simon, our teacher. He was like probably my coolest teacher of all time. Had an awesome car, and he was just like long hair hippie guy who loved like
Kind of like you.
oldies, kind of like me. And yeah, he would take us to different events, and we would sing, and that was like kind of like my first experience. And then I started going to church as a little kid. My grandma would take us to church, and for some reason, our church was like mad Latin. It was like salsa going down, like, and I was just like, wow, this is nice. Like this is different, you know. And I kind of picked up on that, and so that was my next experience with music, and it kind of was very. I was still learning. I was very young. I was like 13 or 14 when I started that, but I was still learning how to be, you know. And I think after that, when I started being in bands and touring and things like that, I got a whole nother set of experiences traveling and, you know, and then eventually leading up to being like a front man of a band, which I am now for Experimento. This is our 12th year
Wow,
as a band,
it's amazing.
and we've been around the world. We've been to almost every state in the U.S. We've been overseas. We've been to a lot of countries, and I've learned so much, and I've gained so much respect for music itself. And so I think right now I'm in a place where I'm ready to tell people a little bit about myself, which for me, I look at it and I'm like, man, I could have been doing this, but for whatever reason, I think I kind of did it in times, but I was never really, I was always doing so many things that I would leave my stuff for last, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate because, you know, as creators and as people that are into the arts, we tend to be very giving and we tend to be we get such a joy out of what we do that we don't mind giving, right?
Right.
But sometimes, if you give and give and give and don't take the time to give to yourself, and to kind of like nurture like your body and your mind, your spirit, then it's easy to either get taken away with the current of what everybody else is doing, or just become depleted
Depleted.
energetically. Like you become weak and you become not your optimal self. So I think I'm at that place right now where I'm like recognizing that I need to uh, kind of tell my story, right, and write about music that explains what I believe in and what I'm passionate about. I have a project coming up for the end of the year that is gonna be just that. It's gonna be a project where I go through all of my names
Mm-hmm.
because I'm somebody that has like a lot of nicknames.
Yeah.
Been called a bunch of different names.
I call you like a million.
So my idea for that project was to have each song be like one of my nicknames that I've had.
Are you gonna do one of ours?
Yeah,
Bram?
of course. Of course, it's gonna be a Bram on there.
Oh my god, that's gonna be awesome. I'm excited for that. I'm really excited to see you like step into your power and step into like your individuality, of who you are, because you're such an incredible human being that I can't wait to, for that shining light to come through, even though it's, a little uncomfortable, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. And I could relate to the whole like, as artists, you give so much, you give so much, you give so much, because as healers too, like we do that, we give so much, and as coaches, and it's like you just want to help everyone. But one thing that I've learned, and one thing that I remind myself all the time, is that there has to be an energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
There has to, even if it's not like monetary, like there has to be some type of energy exchange with everything that I do.
Right.
Because if not, like that's just how the universe works, right?
Right.
The energy you give, you receive, and it goes full circle. So
Right.
that's one thing that I always remind myself of, because in the beginning it's like, I'm so excited, I wanted to help everybody. It's like, let me just do all these things for free, and and honestly, you just get so depleted and you're just left with nothing, because you're always giving and no one gives back to you.
Right.
So I could totally relate to that.
Yeah, and I mean, not everybody's blessed. I mean, there's some people that have, loved ones and friends like in their lives that are constantly like looking after them and helping them, and and like filling their cup, when it's empty. But not everybody has that, and so it's important to let people know the message that like, nobody's gonna care for you like you. And nobody. It's the best feeling in the world is to not be dependent on anybody for happiness or for really anything, and it's not, it's not in a selfish way, but it's kind of like, yeah, like sometimes you got to be a little bit selfish and look out for yourself, and kind of just have grace for yourself. That's a word that's been coming up lately a lot. um, Grace, if you translate it in Latin or in Spanish or whatever, it's like gracia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like thank you.
Right.
It means thanks. It means, you know um, something that you give, right? You give thanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can do that for yourself, there's no better feeling, to have that grace for yourself and to let yourself be thankful. I think any time that anybody might come into a problem or issue or difficulty, I think that act of being thankful and of giving thanks literally to the universe, and to yourself, like thanking yourself, for being and for everything that you have been able to accomplish, and giving yourself like those props, you know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
that's the best feeling.
Yeah, it comes down to gratitude and being
Right.
grateful. right? Because if you're not grateful for what you have and what you are, how can you be grateful for more?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, I think abundance comes when you can say when you can appreciate like the things that you have and you be thankful for that. That's literally when abundance happens.
right,
No, everything is energy.
energy.
Everything absolutely is energy. If you study, like electricity, for example, if you have an electric current going through something and it doesn't have a ground, right? If there's no ground, then the element gets overcharged
Mm-hmm.
and blows a fuse, right?
Correct.
And so that literally can happen with us.
Yeah, we are energy.
We are energy. We are electric. We are electrical. Our
And that's when the meltdowns happen, and that's when we shut down, and that's when we snap, and that's when
right.
we're completely depleted, and
Hmm.
sometimes some people get sick.
Yeah, big
Get
time.
really sick.
Big time.
So in that same wave, I want to talk about how music is healing.
Yeah,
It could be very healing.
absolutely. Yeah, I believe in that 100%. And there's a lot of different people. There's a lot of different info out there, and lot of different like experiences. But I think overall, everybody knows that music is like that universal language. It's something that we tend to maybe take for granted sometimes how powerful it is. Just sound, sound itself is one of the greatest energies and greatest like miracles, if you think about it, that exists. There's music everywhere, the birds singing, the ocean waves, all the sounds of nature. They each do a certain effect, to us. We're, for example, like 80 something percent water, right? One of the biggest conductors of electricity that exists. So for sure, without a doubt, music and sound affects literally our physical bodies, right? And that's why certain sounds can make you sad, certain sounds can make you happy, certain sounds can make you energized. That's why when people go to the gym, they listen to certain type of music so they can get in the vibe of of working out. And so I think as a musician, I've been learning that I've kind of known it for a really long time, because I see the reaction of people. I remember when I was in church, I used to be part of an a cappella group with 3 other friends, and it was called Redeemed. Shout out to Mike and Hydro, Abel, Zeus, who joined later. We sang a cappella harmonies, and they would take us to prisons, homeless shelters, rehabs, and it was just as simple as like, hey, these guys are going to sing for y'all. And we would sing a song, and you would literally see the faces of everybody change and the energy in the room like just shift. People start crying for no reason. And that's one of the first times where I realized like, yo, this is powerful, And so taking that into what I do, into all the projects, that I've done, I really find that music is very healing, and that's one of my main like goals. I think whenever I think of a song or a rhythm or anything, or an idea like for a song with the band, I'm always thinking of how the people are going to receive it. And for Experimento, one of the main goals is just to make people dance, get the bodies moving. That's very therapeutic as well, because part of healing is also movement, motion. You have to move. You have to your body literally holds energy.
Stagnant energy.
Which can get stagnant. We have the chakras, which are the points of energy throughout the body, and in order to be an optimal like vessel, person, body, you have to move it. You have to move it. You have to. One of the first things that they recommend for people that have like depression or anxiety or anything like that is like movement, exercise. Like get those body parts moving, get those stagnant energies like moving. Yoga, right? For example.
Honestly, like one of the things that I do whenever I start feeling like kind of like down, and I already feel myself going down that road and I'm just like, we're not doing this today, I throw my headphones on and I call it a jam session. I put on whatever's going to make me shake my ass or whatever's going to make me move my body, doing whatever. Literally nobody's watching.
Right.
I'm going to freaking move to the music. And in 5 minutes, I feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 minutes,
it's
movement
magical.
and music, like movement and music.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, and it's just kind of like, the way I see it is that, there's not one way to do anything. Like there's various ways always, to do everything, and everybody has their little style of how to do it. But I think if people can just be more aware that this exists, and that it's real, and dive into the science of it a little bit, because what we do is very spiritual, is very energetic, but there's still people that maybe not, they might not see things. They might have maybe more of like an analytical mind or like a scientific type of mind, but they can experience it too. There's been many examples of different people that were on one side of the spectrum, and then they learned and they became believers. I think it's all one. I don't believe that. I think science and spirituality are very related, and they're actually one and the same if you get down really to it. And so yeah, I think that it's very important to be mindful of the music that you listen to.
Yes.
The words, the lyrics, not to be, not to stand on a pedestal or anything like that, but like, for example, like in the band, like I try to, keep it family friendly. You know what I mean? I have kids. I have a kid. I have a daughter, and she's at an age where she's getting a little grown. She's 15, and she's getting a little older, and she she has a great taste in music. She likes old school stuff, and I'm not really worried about the music that she's listening to, but I think that people just really unconsciously, or kind of like they don't even think about it. They're just like, oh, whatever, like I like this song or like whatever. But there might be an energy in there that is not really doing you the best service, and again, there's no judgment, there's no, there's no calling out any specific thing or even genres or anything like that.
Because I was about to ask you something.
So
you sure you?
No, go ahead.
So yeah, it's a huge belief that music alters your state of mind.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna get into like the binaural beats and the altered state of mind. And
you're talking about XXX Tentacion.
Do you know how to say that?
I think that's how you say it. XXX Temptation.
He talked about that. So, my conspiracy theories, that was like,
Yeah. No, actually, that's an interesting topic because I was actually watching his documentary, and it was so interesting because he was a very smart kid. Like, he was very, very intellectual, a lot, like way more intellectual than people probably even realized. But he had a very dark side as well. And I think that he was just dealing with the fact that he was learning a lot of info and then also dealing with his surroundings, which were very, very dark, right? And there was a lot of trauma there, and there was, just a lot of things that I think the music definitely helped him release a lot of things, and and I think the reason why it resonated with so many young kids is because he was talking about things that were super real and that young kids could relate to. But then, whenever it starts going the route of like heavy drug use,
right,
and any destructive, things, violence, anything that's destructive to the body and to the mind, that's where things start getting a little dangerous, because it is a power. And I feel that unfortunately, there are certain powers out there that totally know this power, and they totally know the effect, and that can become a source of control.
I honestly feel like that whole Travis Scott situation has a lot to do with them knowing exactly this information.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just, how can you not see it if you know?
Right. People, quick to turn a blind eye to things like that, and just call it just
A mishap.
a mishap, or or whatever. But yeah, that's the whole. We don't without getting too deep into the rabbit hole
Right.
of
That's
it.
not.
It's definitely important to be mindful. Be
Mhm.
mindful of the music that you're listening to, of the music that your kids are listening to, because it does affect, it does affect us, in every way. And so, getting into the topic of binaural beats are basically frequencies that are put together for a specific reason. There are what are called solfeggio frequencies that correspond to each chakra that we have in our bodies. And each of those frequencies is capable of producing specific effects on the body. And so, once you know that, and you know that it's basically like, if I was explaining this to somebody that had no idea what I was talking about, it goes all the way from like a high pitched sounds, and then it phases all the way down to low pitch
Right.
sounds, which are like the sub frequencies. Anything that's like bass.
I love bass. Yeah, that's like my favorite part of like music. If a song has really good bass,
Right.
I'm like, I judge a song by its bass.
Definitely. That speaks to the root chakra.
Right.
And it speaks to the connection that we have, like, with our bodies, right? Because you feel that shit in your
In
chest.
your heart,
You
and
know
you're
what I
like,
mean?
Man, look at me. I'm so happy right now just thinking about it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's powerful. It's definitely powerful. And not to get too scientific, but it's all about frequencies, numbers, and how they correspond. Like, we literally have points within our bodies that react to these different frequencies, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned the solfeggio frequencies.
Solfeggio frequencies, correct?
Yeah. So there's different, hertz, right?
Right.
And they all serve a different purpose.
Right. So, for example, you have starting at 174 hertz, right? This is good for relieving pain, relieving stress. It enhances concentration, and it's said that this frequency can provide a sense of security to your organs in your body. Anything from like lower back pain, feet, legs, that whole area. It's quite a low tone. I don't know if you can hear this. Right?
Yeah.
That's 174. Then you have 285 hertz, which is for healing tissue and organs. This helps if you have like any like minor wounds, or any like minor like organ things, or like cell repair things going on. The 285 frequency is going to be for that. Next, we have the 396 hertz frequency. This gets a little bit more into feelings of guilt or fear. We're able to liberate any of these feelings with this frequency. Anybody that's experiencing, like I said, feelings of guilt, fear, grief, any lower vibrational feelings that we might have. That's 396. Then we have 417 hertz. This is for undoing certain situations, facilitating change. This frequency is kind of like when you want to start new, when you want to start fresh, removing any negativity from your spaces. That's 417 hertz. Then we have 528, which is for transformation and miracles. This frequency is all about well-being. This can activate imagination, intention, intuition. This is sometimes called the love frequency. Also to note, these tones correspond to specific notes. If you're a musician or if you're into music, they correspond to specific notes on the scale. I don't have them at reference right now what exactly they are, but it is possible to recreate these tones with instruments. We have next the 639 hertz. This is for relationships. This could promote connection or any repairs that have to be done as far as like relationships go, like with friends, with family, with community. 639. Then we have 741. This one was to awaken intuition, and it's for problem solving or anything that could be beneficial to the way that we try to facilitate like mental clarity. Anything dealing with like chronic pain can also be helped with this frequency with the 741 hertz. It's a bit of a higher tone. Then we have 852, which is for returning to spiritual order. It's said to rebalance your spirituality. As you can notice, these tones are going from low to high right now. And that speaks to the elevation of energy that happens within our bodies. Our root chakra stores a lot of energy that then rises, right? When you hear of Kundalini rising and all these things, like it's referring to the fact that energy rises, right? So if you're looking to get into like higher states of consciousness, that 852 frequency will be the one that you want to tune into. And then finally we have the 963 hertz. This is divine consciousness or enlightenment. It's the highest of the 9 main frequencies, and it's known as the frequency of the gods. It can create room for oneness and unity within the spiritual world. It sounds like this. And again, these are just the basic tones. What happens with binaural beats is that they will create, different artists will create a soundscape that has these frequencies in them at different volumes and at different rates, right? Mm-hmm. And what happens is your body is able to absorb the frequency without having to listen to just like a beep or like one steady sound. Right. You're in this like soundscape, with other frequencies also mixed in there, and they'll kind of be weaving into one another. And the effects that they have are specifically, stated. Like if you look at these up on YouTube, you can find ones for like tuning into love, right? Or tuning into happiness or eliminating fear. You can find very different variants, of these binaural beats online. I had a really special experience with one of my friends. My friend Carmen, her mom Naivi is a healer. She's an amazing healer, and she practices. She has practiced Chinese medicine, I Ching, just a huge number of astrological things, tarot, you name it. She's very well versed in all of these things, and she put me onto this system which is called Biowell. And Biowell is a system that it's a process that you do, right? It's a little box, and inside the box there's a crystal, and that box is designed to read your fingertips. So you put your fingertips one by one, very cautiously, very slowly, and you let it read. You connect it to a computer, and you let it read all 10 of your fingertips. Mm-hmm. And then what it gives you is basically a readout of all of your energetic situations that you have going on in your body. So
through your
fingertips, right?
Okay.
And so you get your meridians, you get your chakras, you get how it shows you like literally a visual presentation of like how aligned your chakras are.
Do you have this?
I did it.
Where can I do this?
It's something that I'll put you on.
I've never heard of this.
I'll put you on. Cool. It's amazing. You get an auric reading, so it shows you your aura.
Oh yeah, so I've done the aura reading, and they do put my fingers on these little things.
It's
Similar to
It's
that?
similar to that. It's just a little more fine tuned,
Okay.
or it's a little more because you have to do each finger. You have to do it. I think it's like 10 to 15 seconds, or it's very like finicky. Like you have to be very still, and you have to like sometimes you gotta like do it over. So it takes a while, but once you do it, it gives you a PDF of your whole entire energy situation that you
Which
have,
could change depending on
which
the
could
day
change.
and your
Right,
situation.
right. And so what we did was we kind of grounded first. We set some intentions. We took some breaths. Kind of relax yourself, and then you do the process. And then the added kind of like little bonus that comes with this is that it makes you your own binaural beat
What?
for you.
Stop it.
For you, or for you.
How am I just learning about this, Cam? Like, what type of friend are you? This is so wrong.
I got you. I was kind of saving this for today.
Wow. Yes, I
But
need this in my life.
yeah, it's amazing. It's called Biowell.
Biowell.
I don't really know. I mean, she's the only person that I know that has it or does it. But I'm sure they're practitioners. But I can connect you with her. She's actually somebody that I would love to have on the podcast at some point, because she's very knowledgeable about like all these things that we're talking about.
Mhm.
I have other friends as well that that would be great to speak to about this type of stuff. But it's just mind blowing. It's just amazing. The never endingness of info
Information. Yeah.
that we that we can
Crazy.
learn
It's amazing.
and tap into.
And yeah, like going through like all of those different hertz and everything, it's like when I do my sound healing meditations, right?
Right.
Like each bowl represents a chakra, a
Right.
different frequency, and how you mentioned earlier that there's people that don't believe, but then after they're believers,
Mhm.
right? And it's just the sound heals not only emotionally, spiritually, but physically.
Right.
So I love saying this story, and I know that he listens to my podcast. So one of my employee's husband came to my sound healing meditation, and he had an ankle injury.
Mm.
And he hadn't ran since January.
Mm.
The sound healing was in August, and he told me after the sound healing, he's like, man, like my ankle was like killing me during the session, whatever. But then the next day, my employee comes and she's like, he went for a run, which he hadn't been able to do since January.
Wow.
After like one sound healing session. And it's just like so mind blowing, because it's like you can't even make that up. Like
Right,
you
right.
feel better, and
Right,
it helps so much, tap into so many different things.
Mhm.
We store so much trauma and energy in the body,
Right.
and these sounds and these frequencies help move that. Right. So it's like during a sound healing meditation, you could feel very emotional. You release, you cry. A lot of people elevate, travel different dimensions, get
Absolutely.
whatever information they need, and come back
Mhm.
with epiphanies of,
Right.
wow, like I can't even believe what just happened. Like what felt like an eternity was literally like 30 minutes.
Right.
And it's beautiful, and I love to be able to incorporate this type of work in my practice, because I've always loved music. You know this.
Yeah.
But to be doing it in such a way that helps heal people,
Right.
it's such a beautiful thing that I'm just so grateful to be able to give, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's really amazing how the body works, right? And the more you learn about it, the more you can kind of understand like all these principles, all these things. Everything is vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is vibrations. Like literally every single thing is vibrating, and that's what frequencies are all about. When you have a sound going at a certain frequency, it's vibrating and it's causing a movement. And so what happens in the body sometimes is that different traumas or different energies, they kind of get stuck in a loop, right, in specific parts of the body. And so the way that you literally move that, like, have you ever seen when you look at like a speaker, like if you're at a concert, and you walk by a speaker, like you could literally feel it like shake your whole entire body, right?
Yes,
So
I've been to space and have been inside a speaker before.
yeah. So that
Years ago.
that is literally what the principle, that's what's going on. Like it's causing a movement, and it's causing like a shakeup, right?
Mhm.
And so I remember I did this like transformational breathwork session a while back, where you lay down, right? There's sound bowls, right? And you lay down and then you practice breathing in this really weird way. At first, it seems like it's like really weird, right? Because you're like, and you're like doing this, like these super intentional weird breaths, right? But it's like that's exactly what it's doing. It's moving. It's making your lungs expand and contract, and it's getting your body, your blood pumping. It's getting your blood flowing. It's getting your energy flowing, and then you sit back, and then the sound bowl starts sounding. And there's times where that sound literally takes over your whole entire body. Like if something's going on in that part of your body, like you're going to feel it and it's going to feel weird. Yeah. But then you might cry, you might jolt, right? You might begin to tremble or shake or things like that. But that's literally what's happening, is that your body is releasing these negative energies.
I just had this conversation at my last retreat because we did some breath work, and for some people it brought up some trauma.
Yeah. I saw you did the ice bath.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm so scared of that.
Yeah, no, you're coming with me. Ben is amazing. We had him on our podcast, and
I'm ready.
I love him. But yeah, it brings up trauma too. Especially in those long holes for somebody that's had like sexual trauma, right? Where you've been suffocated, or if you've drowned, or whatever the case, it could bring stuff up. Yeah. And it's just things that have been literally locked away in your body that you haven't dealt with in years, just with breath work. Right. And then the sound gets in to the same, like into your DNA, right? And literally recalibrates you completely. Yeah. So healing.
Our bodies are so resilient. Our bodies are so good at just numbing itself or becoming, like our bodies adapt, right? Like if you have a leg issue, right? I had an accident. I broke my leg when I was riding a scooter, right? In 2019, I rented a scooter by myself. I was driving to Wynwood on it, just trying to see what the last stop of the night was going to be.
Last stop of the night in your face.
My stop of the night was on the street.
Damn.
And it happened so weird. It was the thing became to malfunction, started malfunctioning. The brakes weren't working, and I wasn't able to stop like in time, and there was a railroad track coming.
Wait, and railroad track coming or a train coming?
A railroad, like a track. I was crossing a railroad track, okay. But it was one of those that's like flush with the street, so you don't kind of really see it. Yes. Or at first sight, you might think, okay, I can't stop. I think I'll be fine if I just like roll right over it.
No. By the time you realize, you're like,
that was not the case.
Psych.
Yeah. So, long story short, I broke my leg and I was out for like 4 months. Couldn't do anything. It was a mission to do any single little tiny thing. The way I broke my leg, I couldn't bend my leg for like a good month. I had to have surgery. I have 9 metal pins and an L-shaped like metal bracket like inside my leg forever now.
Iron Man.
And so, yeah, like RoboCop, right? And so it was a mission to do a lot of things, but that's when I realized like how amazing the body is at healing. Mm-hmm. But it's also good at like kind of faking you out to make you believe that you're okay when you're really not. So like if I were to have that limp, let's say I have a limp, right? Or I would have developed like some type of like permanent, like disability because of my accident. My body would have done a great job of just like, oh, okay, this is how you walk now. Right. And you just do it because
you learn pattern.
Yeah, it's a pattern. It's a thing that you learn. So then what had happened is that would have affected my hips or my other leg, or I would have been overcompensating. One leg would have gotten strong, the other wouldn't. So the body has a way of doing that to where, a lot of our ailments, if we don't address them, they can become literally a part, like you said, of your DNA. Like it's like your body now is like that, you know?
It's a learned behavior that your body learns how to do. Like
Right,
you
right.
adjust.
So it's hard to kind of point these out at times because unless you go to like a chiropractor or some type of, you know, physical therapy, like I had to do physical therapy for 2 months straight, um, to learn how to walk again, you know, to learn how to like strengthen my leg, you know, and kind of bring that strength back to the muscles and to the tendons and all that stuff. And I was terrified because I perform for a living.
Right.
I'm in a band. I'm a lead singer of a band. How am I gonna do this? You know what I mean? Like, and I knew that I had to get better because I had a tour. This happened I think at the beginning of July 2019. That October I had a tour coming, and I already knew that I had it coming. So not being able to work for 3 months, I was like, I need to get better. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, if not, I'm gonna like not make my bills and I'm gonna be homeless. Like,
Yeah.
it was like life or death almost. It felt like, you know.
Right.
But what I ended up doing was, um, I just pushed myself. You know, I instead of like feeling victimized or instead of feeling like, oh man, like pity for myself or whatever, I just literally I got up every morning. I thanked God that I could breathe and that I was alive another day, and that despite my injury, that there was so many good things, you know, that were going on like in my life. So I used that as like a fuel, right? And ended up, um, just, you know, going through that isolation. You know, this is before quarantine, mind you. This is like the year right before COVID,
before.
right? So I had my own quarantine. Like I was when COVID came, I
You're
was
like,
like,
I'm a G.
I
I
could
know how to do,
walk.
I could do
I
this.
could walk to the kitchen. I could make a sandwich. I'm Gucci. Like I'm good.
You had that quarantine life on lock.
You know, and but those are the type of things, you know, like we have to tune in. Like we have to that for me was one of those moments where it forced me to tune in, right, to my body, to how I was feeling, you know. um I don't look my age, I don't feel my age, but when I had that accident, oh, I felt my age. I felt, you know, old. You know. And I was like, ain't no way, ain't no way, this is not me.
Right.
You know. And that caused me to just tune in and tap in, you know, and make myself feel the pain. You know, like pain is necessary, yo. Like it's like it's uncomfortable, but it's so necessary because pain means like that you're alive. Pain means that you're feeling, and that is a blessing, you know.
Let me ask you this. Before this accident, was there any like situation or anything that you were like kind of avoiding and like putting off and kind of just like just setting to the side and just not trying to deal with?
Yeah. I think for me it was, kind of like anything that had to do with like tuning into my body or like exercise or, you know, I've never been in bad shape. I did have an injury when I was younger, trying to keep up with homies that were like working out and stuff like that. Um, and so that kind of kept me from like pursuing, you know, like heavy lifting or any type of like extraneous, like super extra like workouts, you know, because I knew I had to be careful, you know,
Right.
with that. But I kind of use that as an excuse to be like, oh no, I can't work out, or I can't play sports, or I can't run, or I can't. It's not gonna be good for me, you know. And so a lot of that mentality, um, made me avoid those things because I was just kind of like looking out for myself, or at least I was telling myself like, oh, I just gotta be careful, this and that. Which, you know, you definitely have to, you know, if you're practicing any type of sport or any type of like exercise, even yoga, you know what I mean? Like you have to be mindful of your limitations in your body so you don't injure yourself, right? But I was using that as like, you know, like a
You're out.
like a permission
You're
slip
out. Yeah.
to kind of like not do certain things. And so right when when that accident happened, I was like, well, now I have to, like, and so that physical therapy was like got me back into the mood of like, oh yeah, like I have to.
This feels good.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I need.
Right. I have to move my body. I have to stretch past those limits that hurt. I have to, I have to work on my posture. Right. I visited a chiropractor for like a whole year. It was it was unplanned. I was with my friend Keith, and we were at uh some type of it was like some type of farmers market or something like that down in the Redlands at Fruit and Spice Park. And there was this little table, this little setup for a chiropractor. And we were like, they were giving away free readings. Like, they had this little machine that they pass down your spine, and it reads your tension points in your back, and like all up and down your back. And so we both did it, and we were like, wow, like I had no idea, like my shit's tight. Like my
Shit's fucked up.
And so they were like, oh, they introduced us to their program and to their office and everything like that, and started going. It was like one of the best experiences I ever had. I was sleeping really, really bad at the time. I was kind of like in a time of my life where I was just kind of like, not really too stable in my living situation. It was kind of like raggedy, and I was just kind of like.
Was this in 2019?
This was before. This was back in I want to say like 2016,
okay,
2017, and yeah, and just having that experience of going to the chiropractor, not thinking that I needed to, obviously, because I'm not, I hadn't had an accident, I hadn't had a any type of condition or anything that would merit going, but it was such an amazing experience because I was able to tap into my body in different ways, and I was able to actually feel the difference of getting an alignment. The spinal cord houses like literally all your connections, all your nerve connections, like to the rest of your body, which goes to all your organs. Right. It goes to every single part of your body, and so getting adjustments, helped me a lot. They have a machine that you stand on afterwards that kind of like, it like vibrates you. It's like it's like you stand on it, it goes and it goes back and forth. That was my favorite. And just like different things that as we age, our bodies change, right? And they get they get wear and tear,
right.
And so part of being healthy, a big part of being healthy is tapping in, keeping your movements regular, keeping your exercise regular, stretching, breathing, all the way down to what you eat, what you use to replenish your body. It's a full-time ass job.
It is. I know. I do it.
You know what I mean? And so, a lot of people get help with it, and they have, they'll have like trainers or coaches or anything like that. Like anything you can do, anything you can tap into, to do that. I think people should do it,
And I'm glad you brought up the fact that like, you believe that because you didn't have any, accidents or anything, that you didn't feel like you needed to go to a chiropractor.
Right.
That's not the case.
Right. At all.
At all. Yeah. Like, shout out to Alex Duran, my sports medicine doctor. He's my chiropractor. He fixes. I'm like, I need you to fix me, and he kicks my ass because it's like I haven't been going as often as I need to because of my schedule. But man, it makes such a difference, especially if you are an active individual that does like a lot of lifting or a lot, even sitting down. Even if if you're sitting down in traffic, if you're in front of a computer, like you need to realign yourself. Yeah. It's incredible, and it's a really important part. That getting massages, both of those things are very essential to my healthy lifestyle because my body needs it, right? You need a tune-up in order for it to function correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think whenever you can incorporate sound into that, music into that, it's just going to enhance it because, like I said before, it's such a powerful thing. It's such a powerful force.
You have less blockages.
Right.
Because you're adjusted. You're able to receive, that. It helps so much. Right. So much. So, Cam, I want you to talk a little bit about a project that you mentioned to me before we got online, with your healing and your sound and your music and the direction that it's going, which I'm super excited to witness and experience.
Yeah, so I recently ran into a friend, my friend Jessica Freitas. She's a sound healer. She's an amazing dancer and just creative person. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and when we ran into each other, we started having conversations, and we both wanted to like do something for the community, and something for like bringing people together. Like we both know so many people that are in this community of healers and empaths and people that are all about energy and positivity, right? And we're like, man, we got to do something to get like all our people together. Like there's so many people that need to meet,
Mm-hmm.
that we know that are on this journey. And so we came up with the name Soul Sancocho. And it's basically it's an event that will bring together um both of our like experiences, right? Our pasts and in music and uh entertainment, if you will. And creating a space where we can create what she likes to call sustainable joy. And it's a principle of having music, having performance, having dance, right? And just inviting people into kind of like a sacred space and make it meaningful, make it intentional. We're honoring our ancestors. We're being thankful for everything that exists in our lives, and we're bringing people um, uh, a frequency of a high frequency of gratitude and also saying, telling people that it doesn't have to be so serious all the time. A lot of times when people think of spirituality and they think of sacredness, they think, of like a super quiet church where you have to whisper and you have to be super reverent. And that's cool, but we want to party, dude. Like
Yeah.
we want to dance. Like we
Yeah.
want to, we want to get
Tap
down.
into that inner child and
We
just let
want
it
to,
out.
we just want to play. We want to vibe. We want to have no judgment. We want to feel able to release any negativity and just no judgment, and also create a space where it's not about like, oh, let me go see like what girl or guy I'm gonna hook up with, or like
Right. It's a different energy.
how wasted I'm gonna get, and like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up with a hangover. Like it's none of that. It's like we want people to come to our event, wake up the next day like ready to take on the world, and we want to keep doing this as many times as necessary. I almost see it as kind of like a recharging point, and it can maybe even coincide with like the lunar phase or something where it's at the right time for the right purpose, and then kind of like uh that'll be kind of like the recharge station, right, for any ventures that we might uh do aside from that. The first one is June the 25th, and we are looking to expand it, and have other, other dates as well. So stay tuned to my IG, and everybody will get to know when the next one is. Um, we're very excited about it. It's a labor of love. We're not in it to like make money. It's a free event. Donations are welcome. We're also going to build an altar, a beautiful altar. If anybody that has like pictures or any items that they might want to bring to honor like their loved ones or anybody that's not with them anymore, um, we're welcoming that as well. And we're just gonna have a dope night. I'm gonna premiere some music of my own, my solo music.
I'm so excited about that.
That's gonna be really cool. We're also gonna have an amazing DJ. His name is G Brown. He is a shaman on the turntables. That's all I could say. And uh, we're gonna vibe. We're gonna have a good night. We're gonna have a tremendous time, and I think that after that, a lot of things are going to change for the better, in the city, in the community. We're inviting everybody with a positive outlook and a positive mentality to come out, and to be part of it, and also just follow along with us and see like the type of things that we're going to be doing, because I think it's that time right now. Things are opening back up. People are down to go experience things and be out there and
connect after
and connect, right?
like the last
The last couple of years has been
yeah
so intense.
yeah we
And
need
so
connection,
a
and this
lot
is
of people,
beautiful that you're doing. Like this is
yeah,
amazing. I feel it's gonna be a huge thing. And honestly, when you were talking about it, the word that was flashing in my head was love. And for you
yeah,
to say it is a labor of love, like
yeah,
it's
it
gonna
is.
bring so much community.
Yeah,
And I'm really excited to meet your partner in this,
yeah,
Jessica.
yeah.
I'm excited to meet her and support you guys.
I don't know. I think just it's something that's needed in the world right now, and I don't know
Definitely.
how big this thing is going to end up
It's gonna
being,
be
but
huge.
I think
I
that
see it.
I feel it. I feel it being something very important, and very exciting, because like a very important common denominator, like in a lot of people that I've been talking to that do events and do things like this, is like that, like there's a lack of like a consideration, or there's a lack of um you know there's a lack of value or perception of value for things that are what a lot of people call entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Music has been devalued, right? Media has been
Huge.
devalued a lot,
Huge.
at a time where there's so much availability to do so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything, when something is too available, it loses its value, because it's like you can get that anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so when you can get music anywhere, when you can get, podcasts anywhere, when you can get, TV shows, you have like 37,000 different streaming
Yeah,
platforms.
it ain't Napster.
It's not Napster days. you know, but but um but yeah, it just causes a bit of a different perception. So um we want to create art, and we want to create works that people value, and it's more than just like, oh, here's a song, listen to it. It's like there's a story behind the song. There's a whole event behind the idea of this type of music, and we can create a space where people can come and say, wow, like that was different.
They felt
They
different.
felt it. They literally
They
felt
felt
it.
different.
They might not be able to explain it, but
It was healing.
it was very healing. And sure enough, if they stick around and kind of just vibe with us a little bit, like they're gonna learn a lot of things of why that is
Yeah,
happening.
and that's like a way to tap people into like the spiritual world, right? That
Right.
might not be into it, right?
Right.
So it's like you mentioned earlier, like when you went to church when you were young, and it was
Mhm.
like salsa and stuff. That's how I felt when I went to Christian church when I met you,
Mhm.
right? Because I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school. It was very like I went to so many masses a
Same.
month, like kneel stands, and it was
Mhm.
very like boring,
Very
no
boring.
offense,
Yeah.
but for me it was like boring. So the first time I went to the Christian church and I see what's going on, I'm like, wait, this is like a party.
Yeah.
I could do this, and I fell in love with it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So that drew me into that, right?
Mhm.
Just like my intention when the concept of Omen Mind came apart,
Mhm.
came together, my initial thought, like the first thing that popped into my head was like, oh, this could be looked as disrespectful because you're combining wine and yoga, right? That was
Mhm.
my initial thing. But then right after I had that thought, I go, no, fuck that. Because if I could lure people into the yoga community where they could find healing like I have with wine and tapas,
Mhm.
this is what we're doing, right? And I've seen it. I've
Yeah.
seen people come in for like, the happy hours or whatever, and then they're like, oh, but like you have yoga here or you have like these workshops, and then they come and they show up and they tell me I've changed so much since consistently coming,
Mm.
right? And it's just like I see it. So I knew in that moment when I had that thought, I was like, shut it down, because
Yeah.
it's a way to bring people into the spiritual community, kind of like luring them with other things, right? Like
Right.
with this event that you're doing, you're gonna have this amazing music and it's gonna make people feel good, and they're just gonna want to tap into it a little bit more. Like,
Yeah.
what else can I do to feel this great? Well, you could tap into breath work. You could tap into meditation. You could tap into sound healing, you know? So it's
Right.
like, I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you
Oh, thank you.
for this. And it just makes me so happy that, you know, such a, like an amazing friend that I've had for such a long time is in alignment with the same things that I'm doing. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think everything we do, all the meetings and all the preparations that we're making for this event, we always start with grounding, and we do breath work, and we just invite, you know, God first, obviously, and then any spirit of creativity, of positivity. We invite our ancestors, you know, to join us. Um, a lot of people have lost a lot of people, you know, in these last couple of years. I recently lost my grandfather. My aunt passed away not too long ago, and I had a really close friend that passed away not too long ago as well in an accident. Um, we're inviting them. You know, we know they're with us, and they're helping us, um, and we invite them to be a part of this, and kind of like let them know that, you know, even though their physical forms didn't get to experience it, that we're calling on them and we're inviting them, you know, to help us
100%.
and just to also, you know, make people aware of that, because it's not a, you know, it's such a common thing for people to get you know, distracted by the ways of life and all these other things, and when certain people are no longer with them, um, they tend to hold on to that sadness, or make it about, you know, what, you know, any regrets or anything that they didn't get to do. And so we're here to let people know that, you know, you can call on them and you can use that, their energy, you know, to look at life in a positive way, you know. And I think that, you know, a lot of people need that. A lot of people need that because, you know, the world is a crazy place right now, you know, and there's so much things going on, and there's so many inexplicable things, and so much loss, and so much trauma, and so many things that are causing people to hurt, you know, in a way that um, is destructive, you know, to the mind and to the spirit. And we just feel called to bring, you know, to bring something for people that they can see the light, you know, see a positive way, and just know that there is, you know, a little community of people that really do care, you know, about humans, you know, and about what we're here, you know, on this earth to
And
do.
I'm sure they'll find a lot of people that are on the same journey and
Yeah.
like-minded people, which I've realized in this journey, you need community.
Hmm.
It's very important. So you'll be
Yeah.
building that for sure.
Big time.
So I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to have you on here. It won't be the last time you'll be on
Yeah.
here. So I'm excited about that. So why don't you tell people where they could find you and how they could connect with you?
So my main source of connection is my website. It's my full name, CamiloRafaelSierra.com. That's also my IG handle. And on those two, you can find all my links. You know, I have a bunch of other platforms and stuff like that, but those are my main ones. So
An experimento.
an experimento can be found also on the website experimento.com. It's XPERIMENTO.com. And our social media, our IG is We Are Experimento. We have a show July 9th at Doral Yard, right here, right down the street. That's gonna be super cool. We're gonna have some guests, and it's a free show. Also, by the way, it's a family friendly vibe. So bring your fam, bring the kids, bring grandma, grandpa, your aunties. Everybody dance the night away over there at Doral Yard, July 9th. And we got a lot more things coming. I think this is just the beginning of. I know it's summer already, but I think that it's kickstarting like a nice little wave. I'm also working with Rebellion Records, which is a record label here out of Miami, independent label. I'm releasing an EP with them at the end of July. I haven't said that anywhere yet.
You said it here.
But that's gonna be super cool. We have like 5 different artists. I'm one of them, and we have we're calling it a summer pack. So every artist is gonna release like 4 or 5 songs for the summer, and we're releasing them all at the same time. Um, the cover art is something out of this world that we created with me, the head of the label. His name is Troy. He goes by Ghostwriter, rapper out of here, out of South Florida. Very talented. Our team is amazingly talented. Like we're just, people aren't ready for this, man. It's gonna be good though. It's gonna be good. So yeah, we got the summer packs coming at the end of July. We're gonna have a pool party to premiere everything. So
when is the pool
that's
party?
gonna be fun. July 31st.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, just a little sampling of like the things that I have going on. I have a couple other projects I can't really talk about yet, but yeah, I mean, we're out here, we're outside. It's fun. It's time for fun. It's time for, it's time to release all the negativity and look at things in a positive way. And you know, I say that a lot, and I talk about positivity a lot, but I also want to say that it's not all love and light.
Yeah.
And sometimes the negativity is necessary. You got to have that balance. You got to have, you got to feel the feelings, like if you feel sad, like feel sad, cry,
Right.
if you feel angry, punch something,
not a person.
let it
That's
out.
frowned
Yeah,
upon.
not a person, maybe
a pillow.
a likeness of a person.
A pillow. Scream into a pillow.
But yeah, we all go through it, man, and life is crazy, but we have to tune into our bodies. We have to feel our feelings, we have to know that um, balance is key, balance in every sense of the word, in every sense of the word. I went through that a lot when I had my accident. I had like one of those epiphany moments, where it's like life is all about balance.
Well, that's where I was going with that question. If you were kind of going through something where the universe literally forced you to slow down and kind of just sit with it because you were probably putting shit off that you probably weren't trying to deal with.
Literally, yeah.
So
yeah, and it was exactly that. I was doing so much, and I wasn't taking time, for myself, and it was kind of like a precursor to the whole pandemic, because it was like, yo, sit your ass down, do something for yourself, like take care of yourself. It was like the big message was like cuídate, like that, like it was in Spanish.
Have
I think
grace.
because have grace, exactly. And yeah, like as I was doing physical therapy, I'm like, wow, the whole balance thing hit me super hard, because I literally was off balance. Like my leg was broken, and I couldn't walk normally, so like reestablishing that balance within my body brought so many things into perspective. I was like, wow, man, this is wild.
Would you say that's like when your spiritual journey kind of took flight?
I wouldn't say is when it took flight, because I've been on this path for a long time, but I think it definitely refocused me. And when I started working with Rebellion, it was a very spiritual experience, in the sense that, like, everybody has, some type of spiritual background, and we would always pray like before our meetings, and just encourage each other. We have different religions within the group. We have Christians, Muslims. We have a variety of different religions, but we're all on the same page, because we know that
we're all spiritual beings.
We're all spiritual beings, and and the entity that people call God is the same God. It's the same universe. It's the same all
energy.
It's it's the the grandness, like, of creation, right? And so yeah, I definitely that was definitely a point where I was able to like refocus and kind of bring things to the forefront, and and put God first, and everything that I learned as a kid in church started to become super, super real to me, And so yeah, you know, it's everybody's on their individual journey, but I think that um, I'm blessed right now to have different people in my circle and different teams that really encourage me, you know, to be the best version of myself. And um, for example, we're actually right now we're on day 50 of 66. It's a 66-day challenge that we're all doing, and we are making it a point to eat healthy, exercise, read, pray, meditate, um, and then just be the maximum, like productivity, like to the max, right? And so what we do every day at the end of the day, we everybody chimes in with a list of the highlights of the day, right? Like what book they read that day or what chapter of what book. We chose certain books that for everybody to read. Um, what we did that day from morning all the way to the evening until night, and that helps everybody just have like accountability. And you know, if you fall off a couple of days, it's fine. You know, you could pick it up. You know, we had a new addition to the group, an engineer, and he picked it up like right away. He's like, "Oh, what day are you guys on?" Like, and he jumped right in. You know,
That's awesome.
and so it was amazing. And so like we do things like that just to keep each other kind of on our toes and keep each other motivated. And that's just great. You know, it's great to have that and also be able to focus on what I want to focus on, like personally, and know that I have that backing and that you know, that group of people that are like, oh yeah, like we got you, like we're going all in with you.
It goes back to the needing of community.
Right. Exactly.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Well, Cam, thank you so much for joining me
Absolutely.
today. And
Thank
remember,
you.
guys, you're welcome. It's not all of the night.